Chosen ones. The whispers started 3 weeks ago, maybe longer, spreading through every circle you once moved through like wildfire, catching dry grass. Someone discovered something about you, or thought they did, and now the entire narrative of who you are has shifted in ways you never orchestrated. Right now, as we speak, there's a document being passed around, a story being told, information being shared, that paints you as something far more powerful than anyone previously imagined. The fascinating part isn't whether these rumors hold any truth. The real revelation sits in understanding that every piece of misinformation spreading about you right now actually serves as confirmation that you've crossed into territory most people only dream about reaching. Picture a snake that sheds its skin in darkness, emerging transformed while predators still hunt for its old form. That's exactly where you stand today, having outlasted every false narrative they tried to pin on you, only to watch those same stories accidentally crown you as untouchable. First, let's address the elephant stampeding through every room you've left behind. Your sudden departure from certain spaces has people constructing elaborate theories about why you vanished. Some claim you received an offer so massive, so game-changing, that walking away from what looked like stability became the only logical move. Others whisper about documents they've supposedly seen, contracts with numbers that make their eyes water, positions that explain everything about your strategic exit. The beautiful irony rests in how their speculation has created a mythology around you that surpasses anything you could have crafted yourself. Every theory grows more elaborate than the last. Someone swears they saw your name on an executive roster. Another person claims they have insider information about a deal you closed that would make headlines if it went public. The stories multiply and morph, each retelling adding another layer of mystique to your reputation. What started as curiosity about your absence has transformed into widespread acknowledgement of your ascension to heights they can't quite comprehend but desperately want to understand. The most intriguing aspect emerges when you realize these people aren't spreading malicious gossip. Their tales carry an undertone of awe, a recognition that whatever prompted your exit must have been monumentally significant. In their minds, only someone playing at an entirely different level would walk away from what appeared to be solid ground. Their imaginations have promoted you to positions of power you haven't claimed, yet their collective belief in these narratives has begun shifting the energy around your name in ways that open doors you haven't even approached yet. Second, the timeline of your movements has become their obsession, and here's where divine orchestration reveals itself. Your strategic silence during this period hasn't gone unnoticed. While they scramble to piece together your trajectory, your absence from their conversations has allowed something profound to unfold. Without your presence to correct or confirm their theories, the stories have taken on lives of their own, growing more impressive with each retelling. Think about the last time you tried explaining yourself to people who had already decided who you were. Exhausting, wasn't it? The universe recognized your fatigue with constantly defending your position and arranged for your removal from those environments before you even fully understood why you needed to leave. What felt like an abrupt departure was actually divine timing at its finest, extracting you from spaces where your light was being dimmed by others' limited perceptions. The protection in this arrangement runs deeper than surface-level convenience. By removing you from these environments, the universe ensured that you wouldn't waste precious energy trying to manage narratives that were never meant to define you. Instead, your absence has become more powerful than your presence ever was in those spaces. The void you left behind has been filled with speculation so grand that when you do resurface, the foundation for your next level has already been laid by the very people who thought they were just sharing rumors. Third, there's something almost comedic about how wrong they've gotten the details while simultaneously arriving at the correct conclusion about your power. The specific stories vary wildly. Some paint you as a behind-the-scenes orchestrator of moves so brilliant they border on supernatural. Others suggest you've been recruited by organizations whose names alone command respect. A few even whisper about abilities you possess that explain your uncanny timing and strategic advantages. None of these stories match your actual reality, yet each one acknowledges a truth they can feel but can't quite articulate. You operate by different rules than they do. Your movements don't follow patterns they recognize, because you're not playing the same game they are. While they exhaust themselves trying to climb ladders, you've been building wings. While they network horizontally, seeking validation from peers, you've been establishing vertical connections with forces that transcend their understanding. The misinformation serves as an unconscious acknowledgement of what their spirits recognize, but their minds can't fully process. They sense the shift in your energy, the elevation in your frequency, the expansion of your influence, but lacking the vocabulary to describe spiritual promotion, they resort to earthly explanations, million-dollar deals, secret societies, hidden knowledge, whatever framework allows them to make sense of the undeniable transformation they're witnessing in your trajectory. Fourth, let's talk about the gift hidden within their complete inability to track your actual movements. Every false trail they follow leads them further from your real position, creating a smokescreen that protects your genuine operations. While they're looking for evidence of the empire they've imagined you're building, you're quietly constructing something far more valuable: authentic alignment with your purpose. This disconnection between their perception and your reality has become your greatest strategic advantage. They're preparing for a version of you that exists only in their imagination, leaving them completely unprepared for who you're actually becoming. The element of surprise now permanently belongs to you, not because you've crafted elaborate deceptions, but because their own projections have created a maze of mirrors where your true form remains invisible. Consider how much energy you used to spend managing people's perceptions, carefully curating your image to avoid triggering their insecurities or jealousy. That exhausting performance has ended without you having to make any announcements or explanations. The universe has orchestrated your exit so perfectly that your absence itself has become the most powerful statement you could make. Every day you don't return to defend yourself against their stories, your mythology grows stronger in their minds. Fifth, the spiritual mechanics behind this phenomenon deserve recognition. What you're witnessing isn't random social dynamics but carefully orchestrated divine intervention. The universe has weaponized their tendency toward speculation, turning their gossip into unconscious prophecy about your destiny. Every exaggerated claim they make about your current status serves as an energetic deposit into your future reality. Words carry creative power, especially when multiple people speak them with conviction. These individuals, without realizing it, have become unwitting participants in manifesting your elevation. Their collective belief in your enhanced status, regardless of its current accuracy, generates an energetic momentum that pulls opportunities toward you. The very stories meant to explain your absence have become incantations summoning your increase. This represents a masterclass in divine strategy. Rather than requiring you to convince anyone of your worth or potential, the universe has arranged for others to convince themselves. Their imaginations have become your marketing department, their speculations your testimonials, their whispers your word-of-mouth campaign. You haven't had to lift a finger to rehabilitate your image or establish your credibility because their own narratives have done that work more effectively than any effort you could have made. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Sixth, your extraction from those environments wasn't punishment or retreat, but strategic repositioning. Like a chess piece being moved to a square that threatens multiple territories simultaneously, your apparent disappearance has actually been careful placement for maximum impact. The spaces you left weren't meant to contain your expanded energy, and staying would have required you to compress yourself into dimensions you've already outgrown. The discomfort you felt before leaving, that sense of not quite fitting anymore, was your spirit recognizing the mismatch between who you're becoming and where you were standing. Those environments could only accommodate the previous version of you, the one who still sought external validation and worried about reputation management. The current version of you requires different soil to grow in, atmospheres that can handle your increased voltage without short-circuiting. What they interpret as suspicious timing was actually perfect synchronization with cosmic cycles. Your departure aligned with energetic shifts that made staying in those spaces not just uncomfortable but impossible. You couldn't have remained even if you'd wanted to, because your frequency had already exceeded what those environments could process. Like a radio station that's changed its broadcast frequency, You simply stopped appearing on their receivers, leading them to create theories about where you've gone, when the truth is you're broadcasting on channels they can't access. Seventh, the protection embedded in their misinformation runs deeper than social dynamics. Every false narrative they spread creates another layer of insulation between you and energies that would seek to interfere with your ascension. While they're attacking an image of you that doesn't exist, your actual self remains untouched, free to evolve without the weight of their projections or expectations. Think of it as a cosmic shell game, where they're convinced they know which shell you're under, but you're not even on the table anymore. Their certainty about your location and activities keeps them from looking in the right direction, giving you unprecedented freedom to move without observation. This isn't deception on your part, but divine misdirection designed to protect your transformation process from premature exposure. The rumors serve another protective function by revealing who can be trusted with your actual truth. Those who readily believe and spread the most outlandish stories about you have shown themselves to be unreliable vessels for accurate information. Their eagerness to accept and amplify misinformation has exposed their true colors, saving you the trouble of learning through painful experience who deserves access to your inner circle. The universe has essentially conducted a loyalty test on your behalf, using their own mouths to reveal their hearts. Eighth, recognize the power in refusing to correct their narratives. Your silence isn't weakness or inability to defend yourself, but strategic wisdom that understands the futility of fighting shadows. Every rumor you don't address, every speculation you don't correct, every false narrative you don't challenge becomes another piece of evidence in their minds that you're operating at levels that don't require conventional validation. Your lack of response gets interpreted as confirmation that you're too important to care, too busy with significant matters to notice their chatter, too elevated to engage with ground-level gossip. This interpretation, while based on incorrect assumptions, accidentally arrives at the correct conclusion. You have indeed transcended the need for their approval or understanding. The stories they tell about you matter less than the story you're writing with your actual movements. The temptation to set the record straight will arise occasionally, especially when the narratives stray so far from truth that they border on absurd. Resist this urge with everything in you. Your silence has become more eloquent than any words you could speak. It communicates a level of self-assurance that no verbal defense could achieve. It suggests you know something they don't, possess something they can't touch, operate from a position that doesn't require their agreement or acknowledgement. Ninth, the manifestation potential within this situation exceeds anything you could have orchestrated through conventional methods. Their collective belief in your elevated status, however incorrectly they've assessed the details, creates a morphic field that attracts corresponding opportunities. The universe doesn't fact-check their claims before responding to the energy they're generating around your name. It simply matches the frequency of their expectations with experiences that validate their assumptions. When you eventually resurface in their awareness, you'll appear carrying the exact energy they've been attributing to you, not because their stories were accurate, but because their stories became prescriptive. The position they've imagined you occupying will mysteriously become available. The connections they've assumed you've made will suddenly materialize. The resources they've claimed you've accessed will find their way to you through channels that surprise even you. This represents a reversal of the usual manifestation process. Instead of you having to believe it before you see it, others have believed it for you, creating a pathway for its materialization that bypasses your own doubts or limitations. Their certainty about your success, even when based on false premises, has generated a momentum that carries you forward regardless of your own fluctuating confidence levels. The universe has essentially crowdsourced your manifestation process, distributing the energetic labor among people who don't even realize they're participating in your elevation. 10th, understand that your current invisibility is temporary but necessary. Like a butterfly in its chrysalis, your temporary disappearance from their radar allows for transformation that couldn't occur under observation. The changes happening within you right now require privacy, not because they're shameful, but because they're sacred. The reconfiguration of your energy, the upgrading of your consciousness, the expansion of your capacity, all need protected space to complete their processes. When you do return to visibility, and you will, the shock of your transformation will be so complete that no amount of explanation could have prepared them. They'll scramble to understand how you achieved what they'll witness, not realizing that their own stories about you contributed to its manifestation. The gap between who they remember and who you'll present as will be so vast that some won't be able to process it, defaulting instead to the explanation that you must have always been this powerful and they simply didn't see it before. The timing of your return won't be determined by calendar dates, but by energetic completion. When your transformation reaches critical mass, when your new frequency stabilizes, when your expanded capacity becomes your natural state rather than something you're reaching for, then the universe will orchestrate your re-emergence. Until then, let them tell their stories. Let them build their theories. Let them construct their mythologies about you. Each tale they tell adds another stone to the foundation of the palace you'll eventually inhabit. 11th, the role reversal happening here deserves appreciation. Usually you'd be the one trying to convince others of your value, working to establish credibility, building your reputation through careful cultivation. Instead, they've taken on that labor for you, becoming unwitting ambassadors for a version of you that surpasses even your own self-concept. Their imagination has outpaced your own vision for yourself, accidentally prophesying into existence a destiny bigger than what you dared to claim. This reversal extends beyond mere reputation into actual energetic dynamics. The attention they're putting on these stories about you generates a current that flows in your direction, carrying with it opportunities, resources and connections that align with the narrative they've created. Every conversation about your supposed achievements, every whispered speculation about your power moves, every passed-around document that proves your elevation adds voltage to this current. You've become a mystery they're desperate to solve, and that desperation has turned you into something more valuable than being understood, being recognized as beyond understanding. The mystique surrounding you now exceeds anything strategic personal branding could have achieved. You've become simultaneously untouchable and magnetic, unreachable and unforgettable. Their inability to pin down your exact status has made you more interesting than any confirmed achievement could have. Finally, grasp the profound cosmic joke embedded in this entire scenario. They think they're uncovering secrets about you when actually, they're revealing the limitations of their own perception. They believe they're tracking your movements when they're actually documenting their inability to comprehend operations that transcend their framework. They assume they're spreading information when they're actually spreading activation codes that awaken dormant potentials in your field. Every piece of misinformation they share about you illuminates truth about them, their readiness to believe in extraordinary possibilities, their recognition that conventional explanations don't apply to you, their unconscious awareness that you've graduated from the reality they're still navigating. Their stories about you are actually confessions about their own recognition of your difference, dressed up as gossip to make that recognition more palatable to their egos. The ultimate victory here isn't that you fooled anyone or manipulated any narrative. The victory rests in the fact that you've outlasted every attempt to define you through limited perception. You've survived every story that tried to contain you within conventional understanding. You've transcended every narrative that sought to explain your movements through ordinary frameworks. The misinformation hasn't diminished you. It's revealed the inadequacy of their measuring tools when applied to your evolution. As you move forward from this position of strategic invisibility, remember that you owe no one explanations for the gap between their stories and your reality. Let them keep their myths about you. Those stories serve purposes you don't need to understand or control. Your only responsibility lies in continuing to evolve beyond even your own expectations, to surprise yourself with your own becoming, to exceed even the wildest rumors they've spread about your power. The whispers will continue. The documents will keep circulating. The theories will grow more elaborate, and through it all you'll move like smoke through their fingers, impossible to grasp because you're not solid in the way they expect. You're something more fluid, more dynamic, more resistant to capture than any story could contain. You've outlasted the misinformation, not by correcting it, but by transcending the entire game of reputation management. Chosen one, your throne awaits, built from the very stones they thought were weapons against you. Every false narrative has become a stepping stone to your elevation. Every piece of misinformation has transformed into confirmation of your transcendence. You haven't just survived their stories, you've alchemized them into pure power. The mystery they've created around you has become your greatest asset, and their imagination about your destiny has become prophecy writing itself into existence. The cosmic joke completes itself as you realize you never needed to convince anyone of anything. The universe has been using their mouths to declare your victory, their minds to imagine your success, their energy to manifest your elevation. You've outlasted all the misinformation because you were never meant to be accurately understood by those operating from lower frequencies. Your truth was always meant to exceed their ability to comprehend it, and now their own stories about you have proven that beyond any shadow of doubt. The divine orchestration extends even further when you recognize the specific timing of these events. This isn't happening randomly in your life, but at the exact moment when your old identity needed to die for your new self to emerge. The universe orchestrated these rumors and whispers at the precise point when holding on to your previous reputation would have prevented your evolution. Every false story being told about you is actually performing spiritual surgery, cutting away attachments to how you used to be perceived so you can fully embody who you're becoming. Consider the exhaustion you felt in those final weeks before your departure. Your body was giving you signals that your spirit had already left those environments. The fatigue wasn't physical but energetic, your soul's way of communicating that it could no longer sustain the performance required to exist in spaces that had become too small. Those people spreading stories about you now are the same ones who would have required you to stay compressed, stay manageable, stay within boundaries that your expanding consciousness had already obliterated. The financial implications they're imagining about you carry specific vibrational significance. When multiple people simultaneously believe you've accessed substantial resources, that collective belief creates what mystics call an abundance thought form around your energy field. This thought form acts like a beacon, attracting actual opportunities that match its frequency. The million-dollar deals they're whispering about might not exist yet, but their certainty about your financial elevation has set forces in motion that will manifest equivalent energy in tangible form. Notice how their stories have shifted from wondering if you'll make it to assuming you already have. This transition in their narrative represents a critical tipping point in collective consciousness regarding your destiny. Once enough people believe in your success strongly enough, reality has no choice but to conform to that expectation. The universe operates on consensus reality principles at certain levels, and their unanimous agreement about your elevation has created a consensus that overrides any previous limitations placed on your potential. The psychological warfare you're not participating in has become your greatest strategic advantage. While they exhaust themselves trying to figure out your next move, you're free to move without the burden of strategic thinking. Your absence from the chess match they think they're playing means you can't lose a game you're not participating in. This non-participation isn't passive, but represents the highest form of strategic wisdom, winning without fighting, conquering without competing, ascending without climbing. Their obsession with documenting your supposed achievements has created an interesting paradox. The more they try to prove their theories about you with fabricated or misinterpreted evidence, the more they convince themselves and others of your significance. Each document they share, whether real or imagined, adds another layer to the mythology. They've become archivists of a history that hasn't happened yet, unconsciously preparing the foundation for events that will retroactively justify their current beliefs about you. The spiritual protection operating here surpasses conventional understanding of divine covering. You're not just being protected from their negative intentions, but from their positive projections as well. Both forms of energy could interfere with your authentic development if you were exposed to them directly. By keeping you removed from these environments, the universe ensures that your growth remains organic, untainted by external expectations, whether hostile or admiring. Watch how the universe has used their tendency toward gossip as a distribution system for your energetic upgrades. Every time your name passes through someone's lips, accompanied by these elaborate stories, a small portion of their creative energy gets attached to your field. They're unknowingly participating in a collective ritual of elevation, each repetition of the rumors adding more power to the spell they don't realize they're casting. Their gossip has become prayer. Their speculation has become prophecy. Their whispers have become incantations. The specific details of their misinformation reveal their unconscious recognition of your true nature, the roles they're imagining you in, the power they're attributing to you. The connections they believe you've made all point toward their spiritual awareness that you operate from a different source than they do. They might not have the vocabulary to say you're divinely appointed, so instead they create stories about earthly appointments that approximate the same level of authority. Your extraction from those spaces has allowed you to observe a pattern you couldn't see while embedded within it. From your current vantage point, you can recognize how those environments were designed to keep everyone at roughly the same level, using social pressure and gossip to pull down anyone who threatened to rise above the collective ceiling. Your departure wasn't just personal liberation but escape from an entire system designed to prevent exactly the kind of evolution you're experiencing. The seasoning process you're undergoing in isolation cannot be rushed or witnessed. Like steel being tempered in private flames, your character is being refined in ways that require solitude. The pressure of their speculation combined with the heat of your transformation is creating an unbreakable version of you. When you emerge from this process, you'll carry a quality that can't be replicated by those who haven't endured similar refinement. Their stories about your power will pale in comparison to the actual authority you'll embody. Each false narrative they create about you burns away another layer of your need for external validation. The universe is using their misinformation as a form of ego dissolution, making it impossible for you to derive your sense of self from their opinions. When every story about you is wrong, you stop looking to stories for your identity. When every external narrative is false, you're forced to find truth within yourself. This process, though uncomfortable, is liberating you from the prison of reputation management that keeps most people trapped their entire lives. The synchronicities that led to your departure were too perfect to be coincidental. Looking back, you can see how every door that closed, every relationship that ended, every opportunity that fell through, was actually divine coordination removing you from spaces that would have hindered your next phase. What felt like loss was actually strategic pruning, removing branches that were drawing energy away from your core growth. The universe orchestrated your exit with the precision of a master strategist, ensuring you left at the exact moment when staying would have cost you your destiny. Their conviction about your elevated status has created what metaphysicians call a probability vortex around your timeline. This vortex draws toward you circumstances that match the energy of their beliefs, regardless of current physical evidence. The more certain they become about your success, the more probable your success becomes. Their collective faith in your elevation, even when based on false premises, has tilted the odds in your favor across every area of life they're discussing. The assassination metaphors appearing in their narratives about you carry deep symbolic significance. When they speak of you as someone who eliminated the competition or took out obstacles, they're unconsciously recognizing your ability to destroy limitations that would stop others. The violent imagery isn't about physical actions but spiritual warfare. You've won against forces they can't see. You have indeed been an assassin, eliminating outdated versions of yourself, destroying limiting beliefs, taking out generational curses that tried to define your trajectory. Your refusal to engage with their narrative has forced them to escalate their stories to maintain interest. Like a movie that needs bigger explosions to keep the audience engaged, their tales about you have grown progressively more dramatic. This escalation serves your purposes perfectly, as the more outlandish their stories become, the less anyone expects you to address them. You've been elevated to mythical status where normal rules of engagement no longer apply. The energetic vacuum your absence created has been filled with exactly what you needed for your next phase. Instead of your energy being present to maintain old dynamics, that space has been filled with speculation that serves as fertilizer for your future manifestation. Nature abhors a vacuum, and the universe has ensured that the void you left behind has been filled with creative energy that will support your eventual return at a higher level. Those spreading these stories don't realize they've become employees in your spiritual enterprise. They're working full-time to build your reputation, expand your mythology, and prepare the collective consciousness for your revealed elevation. The universe has essentially put them on your payroll, using their time and energy to perform marketing services you never hired them for. Every conversation about you is unpaid labor in service to your destiny, and they're doing it voluntarily, enthusiastically even. The specific environments you left were functioning as frequency suppressors. Those spaces had unwritten rules about how high anyone could vibrate before making others uncomfortable. Your rising frequency was triggering alarm systems in people who needed you to stay small for their comfort. Rather than forcing you to fight constant battles to maintain your ascending vibration, the universe simply removed you from the interference. Your current isolation isn't punishment, but protection from frequency vampires who would drain your spiritual wattage. The bank heist metaphor they've unconsciously chosen reveals more truth than they realize. You have indeed pulled off a heist, but not of money. You've stolen back your own energy from spaces that were robbing you of your potential. You've reclaimed your time from people who were wasting it. You've taken back your power from situations that were draining it. The mask they imagine you wearing is real too. It's the invisibility that allows you to move undetected while you reorganize your entire existence. Every time someone hears these rumors about you and believes them, a new door opens in the quantum field. Belief is creative, and their collective belief in your elevated status is creating opportunities that didn't exist before. These aren't metaphorical doors but actual possibilities that emerge from the collision between their expectations and universal response. The more people who hear and believe these stories, the more pathways open for their manifestation in concrete form. The universe has weaponized their inability to mind their own business. Their compulsive need to discuss others' lives has been transformed into a tool for your elevation. What was meant to be idle gossip has become active manifestation. Their noseness has been converted into curiosity about your power. Their tendency to spread information has been hijacked to spread activation codes about your destiny. Every weakness in their character has been repurposed to serve your strengthening. The reason you had to leave so abruptly connects to cosmic timing you're only beginning to understand. There are windows in the universe that open briefly for quantum leaps in evolution. Your departure aligned with one of these windows, and staying even one day longer would have meant missing a portal that won't open again for years. The abruptness that has them speculating was actually precision timing with celestial mechanics they can't perceive. You didn't leave too soon or too late, but at the exact moment when leaving would catapult you into an entirely different trajectory. Their certainty that you're operating from secret knowledge or hidden information is accidentally correct. You do have access to information they don't, but it's not the kind that can be documented or passed around. It's the knowing that comes from surrendering to divine guidance, the wisdom that emerges from trusting cosmic timing, the intelligence that develops from following spiritual promptings even when they don't make logical sense. The secret knowledge they imagine you possessing is actually your connection to infinite intelligence that guides your moves. The relief you feel from not having to correct their narratives goes deeper than simple freedom from explanation. You're experiencing the liberation that comes from transcending the entire paradigm of reputation. When you no longer need others to see you accurately because their perception has no bearing on your reality, you've achieved a level of spiritual sovereignty most people never reach. Their misinformation has become your liberation, their misunderstanding your freedom, their inability to track you accurately, your escape from the prison of managed perception. As this chapter concludes, the cosmic joke reveals its punchline. They set out to figure out what you were up to, and in trying to solve that mystery, they've created a reality far more powerful than anything you were actually doing. Their imagination has become your manifestation tool. Their speculation has become your springboard. Their misinformation has become the very foundation of your elevation. You haven't just outlasted the misinformation, you've transformed it into the raw material of your destiny. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. The final revelation sits in understanding that none of this was accidental. Every rumor, every whisper, every false narrative was orchestrated by forces that understand how reality gets constructed through collective belief. You've been given a gift disguised as gossip, a blessing wrapped in rumors, an elevation hidden within their speculation. As you prepare for what comes next, remember that their stories about you were never about you at all. They were prophecies about who you're becoming, spoken by prophets who don't know they're prophesying, creating a future they'll swear they saw coming when it finally manifests in form too undeniable to question. The return you'll eventually make won't be a comeback but a revelation. When you resurface in their awareness, you won't be returning to prove them wrong or right, but to embody a truth that transcends their entire framework for understanding power. The foundation has been laid, the mythology has been established, the collective consciousness has been prepared. All that remains is for you to step into the role they've unconsciously created for you, exceeding even their wildest speculations with the reality of who you've become during this sacred season of strategic invisibility.